collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Black Panther and Sabre Claw from the Marvel Mechstrike Mechasaurs line from Hasbro. This is part of the Epic Hero series, which is their new 4-inch line of figures for Marvel. Maybe that'll expand into other properties as well. Only time will tell. But here we have Black Panther, and then we have Sabre Claw, which is this kind of saber-toothed tiger mech that can also transform into armor for him, which looks pretty cool. Not too much going on the top, just showing you how they can combine, and then some more product shots of the two from the front. Not really anything going on the bottom. Over here, again, just showing off how they can combine. And then over here, we have some cool artwork of Black Panther. I think that looks pretty cool. And then over here on the back, we just have more product shots, pretty much the same ones from the front, showing you how they can combine in the armor mode. So, pretty cool. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the box, and we'll take a closer look. Here they are out of the packaging. We'll take a look at Black Panther first. I think he looks pretty good. Now, obviously, this is a character that does not need a ton of paint applications, since he can mostly just be molded out of black plastic. But the purple here on the chest does look good. We have some silver for the necklace that does go all the way around, which is much appreciated. And then you have a little bit of white there for the eyes. I don't know, something about the head sculpt. I don't love it. I don't hate it. It's just a little off to me. I'm not quite sure what it is, but it's fine. Now, they have typical articulation here, so we have a ball joint for the head. This is all pretty standard. You can look up pretty far, down about that far, spin side to side. You have a hinge in the shoulder, as well as a rotation. Then you have a hinge and a rotation in the elbow. Nothing in the waist. You can kick pretty far out to the side, about 90 degrees, and pretty far forward. But you can't really go back because they give him kind of a butt flap there, so no movement toward the back. And then you do have a bend and a swivel here at the knee. But there is a lot of nice molded detail in the armor, even though they didn't paint it at all. Which, again, it doesn't really need the paint, I'll be honest. His suit is black, but I like the purple and the silver. Overall, I just think he's really good. I like him quite a bit. He does have kind of a weird thing about standing, though. You almost kind of have to have him like lean back, and it's I don't know what it is exactly, but maybe it's the way they molded his legs. So you can see that like this kind of sits further back because you have that knee pad there that kind of hangs forward, which is fine aesthetically, but it makes the like you can't really put the feet. I don't know. Mine has to kind of lean back to be able to stand, which is kind of weird because like if you would just stand him as you'd normally think, he kind of is a little too front heavy. So I kind of have to like pop the legs back. And so to stand, he kind of has to lean back like that. Not a big deal, but it is a little weird. So next we will take a look at Sabre Claw, which I assume is a saber-toothed tiger. I also assume they didn't want to call him Sabretooth because that is another Marvel character, which I would absolutely love a line of X-Men in this size class. We'll see how that goes, maybe. Future. Fingers crossed. But this guy looks pretty good. He's a little hollow. He feels a little bit lighter than some of the others, but I'm okay with it. I think it's fine. I really like the head. I think the nice silver for the teeth looks good. You have some purple there for the eyes and a little bit above the eyes. Unfortunately, the mouth can't open. All the other animals so far have been able to have opening mouths, but they didn't do that here. You can kind of move the head around a little bit, but it's mostly just for the transformation into the armor. And then you have a ball joint here and kind of the top of the arm. And then you have a ball joint here at, I guess, what would kind of be like the elbow. And then you have a ball joint here in the back. And then you have kind of this weird hinge back here. And then you have like a giant knee pad as well. But they did paint the front of this silver, which I thought was kind of neat. I'm not sure why they didn't paint the whole thing. But I guess it's probably just for the armor mode to make it look a little bit fancier. But it is nice silver paint. And the purple on here I really like as well. I think that really pops. And then you have a ball joint back here for this tail. So all in all, I think he's pretty cool. I like him. I think the two together look good. It's kind of just like he has a fun saber-toothed tiger companion that he can send after enemies. I think it's a pretty cool design. I want to move Black Panther out of the way for a moment just because I want to kind of do a comparison with Iron Stomper, which is the Stegosaurus that came with Iron Man. You can see that they're very similarly constructed, but they're definitely not like just a reuse of the other one because there's really no molding shared between the two. Like the tail kind of connects in the same way back here, but like this one has the clip that can't move. I really don't know why that couldn't have just been on a hinge like all the others are. And this doesn't have anything on the side that opens up. And this one also just feels lighter, which, you know, may make it seem cheap, but it's going to really come in handy when you do the combined armor mode, because this guy is way too heavy, and therefore Iron Man can't really stand up on his own unless you leave the tail in as like a third tripod leg. But this guy, he looks good, but he's definitely lighter, which is going to allow him to stand on his own, which is really nice. So it's kind of that weird fine line between, you don't want it to be so thin and light that it feels cheap, but you want them to be able to stand on their own in the armor mode. And I feel like this one is a pretty good balance. This one's just a little too heavy. I love the look of this guy. I mean, he is a bruiser, and I love the way he looks, but he's just not really great as armor, whereas this guy's pretty good in both modes. And then just for fun, we'll throw Red Wing in the back so you can see the three of them here together. Let me zoom out here a bit. But yeah, they're cool. I like them. I think they look really cool together. It's been a fun line so far. I know there's an Ultron one as well. I think he's going to get a T-Rex, which is awesome. I have a suspicion that maybe that's going to be a different size class, which is why we're not seeing it yet. He might be a little bit bigger as far, because I think he gets like armor. Like these guys basically just get kind of like a backpack chest plate combo and new legs. I think Ultron's going to get all that plus pieces to connect to the arms. So that's why I think the T-Rex is going to be a little bigger. But that's just a guess as of right now. But yeah, these three look really cool together. And since we saw the three mecha together, I wanted to do the three figures together as well. They look really great. I think this line's been a lot of fun. Technically, I should have the Hulk in the background here, but he's just not as easily accessible. I'll have to get him out later. But yeah, these three look really cool. I've been really happy with all three of these figures so far, and they look great together. Alright, so let's get into the armor transformation. I'm going to move Black Panther back a bit, and then we're going to come over here and do a little bit of disassembly. We're going to just pop the tail here out of the ball joint, put that off to the side, and then we're going to pop the two back legs off of the ball joints like that, and then we're going to just sit him here off to the side. We will bring Black Panther back in, and basically how this is going to work, you can see that there's a peg right there, and that is going to peg into the bottom of the foot. So just peg that in, and then you're going to push this in, and you can see that there's a little clip here, which is going to just kind of clip onto the leg, just like that. So this is going to peg on here, and then clip that on, and there you go. We have our armored legs. And then we're going to take this and flip out the clip here for the waist. Now you kind of have to do like this, so I'm going to move these legs out of the way. But you can see that there's kind of a very narrow space for the head to get through. So you kind of have to feed the head through first as this kind of comes down, and then you can clip it onto his waist just to make sure that there's clearance, and then this just kind of comes down. Now the legs, you have a couple options. I believe the directions tell you just to like have these hang down like this, I think, or maybe like this. What I personally like to do, because these have these missile pods, you can actually flip these up and there's these missile pods inside. So I like to put them about there, and then I like to bend these parts of the feet. I can't talk. Anyway, we're going to move the feet in this direction, like this, and then flip up the missile pod piece. Now, technically, it looks like they almost have missile pods on the bottom of these feet as well. So if you wanted to kind of, like, do something like this, you could as well. Or maybe when he runs out of these missile pods, then you could have it switch to the other ones. But I think that's kind of cool that they actually molded that in there and made it so that these little kneecaps could flip up. So I kind of like to do something like this. Now, again, you have to find the balance with the hips by bringing him a little forward, because he is a little bit more back heavy now, but he's not nearly as back heavy as Iron Man was. So he can stand on his own if I just pitch him forward a little bit. And also we'll give him the sword here, and that will help to front load the weight as well. Let me bend this out a little bit. And there we go. So we'll zoom in here a little bit. Very, very cool. I mean, it's a lot of just black, so when you kind of just look at it head on, you don't see a lot of the details. But you have the silver here and the silver here, which really pops. I wish now the packaging shows that these pieces are completely silver, but they're actually black. I would have preferred them, maybe just the inside was painted silver. Now, I understand that's another paint application that they obviously didn't have budget for. But if these, like maybe this whole piece could be made of silver and then just this piece could have been black. Just because with the everything being black plastic, the details tend to, I really can't talk today, tend to kind of get lost, is what I was trying to say. So, he looks good. I like him a lot. I appreciate the fact that he can stand on his own. He's not too heavy. And I think that's really the key here. This whole back section is lighter, way lighter than the Stegosaurus from Iron Man. And that's why he can stand on his own. But he's really cool. I like this one a lot. I like the addition of the missile pods. I feel like the legs compact nicely enough that they're not really hanging off or in the way. I think the legs down here look cool. I really do appreciate that little bit of silver paint here because it really does pop. Otherwise, it would have just been so much black and like all the details would have been lost. So, yeah, I think this guy's really, really cool. I think this is a really great set. Honestly, both of these figures look really good. I think they did a great job with Black Panther. Yes, it would have been nice to get some more of the purple paint applications throughout because there's a lot of molded detail in the figure, and that would have given him kind of the full powered-up vibranium look. But I'm fine with it. The purple we did get looks really nice, and there is a lot of nice molded detail around. It just would have been nice to highlight some of it with a little bit more paint. But I do appreciate that the silver necklace went all the way around. It has standard articulation, so it's a really nice figure here. The head sculpt's not bad. It just seems a little off. I don't know, maybe if it's a little too big in regard to the rest of the body, or I'm just not quite sure what it is. I mean, ultimately, I'm happy with it. It's fine, but it just feels like something's a little off with it, and I just don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. Also, like I said, mine, I don't know if it's a QC thing or what, but mine, the legs are like a little misaligned or something, because you really have to kind of have him like arch his back to get him to stand, and I don't really know what that's about. Again, not a huge problem. Just something that I thought was a little weird and worth mentioning. Saber Claw here, I think is great. I like him a lot. I think all the paint applications we got are pretty sharp. I think the head looks great. Purple here on the back looks really good. And that little bit of silver here on kind of the calf muscles really, really pops, and I like that a lot. It's nice that he is kind of lighter than Iron Stomper, because that allows them to stand when they're in the combined robot mode and not fall over. Iron Stomper's backpack was way too hefty. So this one, like I said, really treads the line where it's not so cheap or weight, thin that it feels cheap, but it is thin enough that it's not super heavy. So I think that's a really nice balance there. I like that these little missile pods open up. I think that's really cool. Would have been nice to get a little bit of silver paint in there, but I understand why they couldn't. Overall, I think it's a lot of fun. I like this guy a lot. And even though he looks very similar in functionality to Iron Stomper, it's definitely a completely different mold. They didn't reuse any pieces or anything like that, I don't believe. So, yeah, very cool. I like this quite a bit. If I had to rank the three, honestly, I think that'd be kind of difficult. I think probably Captain America would be number one, with this guy being a close second. But then, honestly, Iron Man would be a very close third, because they each have, like, little things that make them not 100% perfect. But they're still really fun, and the figures look really great, and I love the look of all the animals in the animal modes, and the armors, for the most part, are functional. It's really just Iron Man being too back-heavy, but he still looks cool. So, I don't know. They're all really good, honestly, but I think this one is definitely high up there on the list. So, definitely check this one out. If you've been collecting the Epic Hero series figures, I think this is going to be a great addition to that collection. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.